Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the Dynamo Team. We're gonna break down how it will work, how it will function, and of course once this team is then released in version 2.8, I will do an even deeper breakdown and a walkthrough as to how exactly the rotation of this team works and yada yada. But today we're gonna talk things through. Why? That is because this team is extremely important, as everyone and their mom will 100% guaranteed play this team from version 2.8 and for a very long time. This will be the second best team in the game for a while, to say it at least, and it is very free to play friendly, as we get Ulrich for free. And why should you play this team 100% guaranteed no matter what? Because of Ulrich. Ulrich is a character that you get for free and he's an absolute monster. Plus Lucy will have her rerun, so you can obtain her as well. She will release at 15 days after the version 2.8 hits. So the version 2.8 hits on September 18, and then 15 days later you get the Lucy rerun, and you have to pull for her if you don't already own her. That is the #1 most heavy priority. Additionally, you should have Ezra ready with her Euphoria update. Let me show you her Euphoria update, because Ezra has 2 Euphoria updates. So let me make sure that you are aware of which Euphoria update you actually upgrade. Here you have it. This is Ezra's Euphoria update that you need to play in the Dynamo Team. It is called Millennium Guided Wind Probe, and it not only establishes a pulsing field, but it also helps upgrading that. More on that in a second. Okay, so as you can see here, the Dynamo Team will consist of the new free character Ulrich, about Lucy, who will have her rerun, and Ezra with the Euphoria that I just showed you. Now there is one free spot, and this free spot can in version 2.8 be filled with whatever you want. The best options to fill the slot is Muldir, for example. Muldir is the second best slot in for this team for the time being. The problem with Muldir is that you would have to invest into pulling Muldir, and you would have to wait until Muldir releases in version 2.8, and that is very costly. Therefore, you should not do that. You should not pull for Muldir and play her in this Dynamo archetype team. No. Instead, if you have access to Mercuria, if you already own Mercuria, you play Mercuria in this team, in this Dynamo Team here, for the time being, until the next version 3.0 releases. And then we get the true final piece for this Dynamo Team in form of Sharon. And this is why Sharon is a must pull for everyone, as again, everyone will have to play this Dynamo Team in version 2.0, and Sharon is the last piece that makes the Dynamo Team complete, and you will not have to worry about this Dynamo Team anymore for months and months to come. So this is a very worthwhile investment, right? That explains itself, I guess. And now let's talk a little bit as to what do these characters do, what is this team all about, and so on and so forth. The very first thing that you have to be aware of if you want to play the Dynamo Team is that these characters, actually Lucy with her Euphoria update, Ulrich and Ezra, right, all of them, they create something called pulsing field, and you have to transfer dynamos into this pulsing field to level it up. If you level it up to level 2, you can see you increase the incantation might plus 25% and the damage bonus plus 15% to your entire team. That is very beneficial, of course. It gets much better, because if you manage to level it up all the way to level 3, you also, on top of the incantation might and the damage bonus, you get a plus 35% ultimate might. Why this is clutch? In just a second. First of all, as you can read right here, to level this pulsing field up to level 2, you would need to put at least 50 dynamos into this field. To level it up to level 3, you would need to put 120 plus dynamos into that field. And you, of course, you want to make sure that this pulsing field is up and on level 3 at all times. So you need to accumulate dynamos. You need to generate dynamos. How do we do this? We do this simply by using incantations with Ezra, Ulrich and Lucy. You can see this here. After this unit takes an action, you gain 10 stacks of dynamo. Then at the end of the round, you transfer up to 20 stacks of dynamo into the pulsing field. Remember how many dynamos you need, right? And here, when entering battle, you gain 10 stacks of dynamos just like that. Alright. For Ezra alone, of course, it is not enough dynamo production to have this pulsing field up on level 3 fast enough, and also to maintain it at level 3 at all times is impossible. So let's take a look at the other characters and see how many dynamos they have and more. First, let's take a look at Lucy and how she generates dynamo. She does that here. For every Moxie gained by herself, she gains 2 stacks of dynamo. For every Moxie or Eureka gained by another ally, she gains 2 stacks of dynamo. And now let's take a look at her Euphoria update, because remember, when the pulsing field is active, also by the way, she gains dynamo when she enters battle, right? So also that will be like 10 or 20 maybe even. So you will have a lot of dynamo generated every single turn, every single round with Lucy, no problem. It will be around 20 each turn as well, just as Ezra does. So that would equal to 40 dynamos per turn to just by Ezra and Lucy. Remember that. Also, remember that the electric searching field on level 3 gives us an damage bonus plus 15, gives us an incantation might plus 25, and it increases our ultimate might by 35%, right? Now you have to be aware that with Lucy's Euphoria update, she profits from all 3 of these increases, because incantations can now benefit from ultimate might. The incantations do benefit from ultimate might. That makes, just that alone makes Lucy receive a damage increase by 75% just by this electric searching field on level 3 alone. Alright. Next up, we should take a look at Ulrich, because he as well, when he enters battle, he gains dynamo. He gains dynamo at the end of the round and he funnels it into the searching electric field. Now he does, at the end of every single round, cast something that is called peak voltage. That is a mass attack that deals reality damage to all enemies. Yeah, you can increase the damage if you have keys, right? I have an Ulrich kit breakdown on my channel. If you want, you can check that out to understand it a little bit better and see how you accumulate these keys. But the kicker here is that this peak voltage that Ulrich does at the end of every single round benefits from ultimate might. Right? 35% increase plus 50% increase from an attack that Ulrich does at the end of every single round just by having the electric searching field up on level 3. Now you realized that Yeah, we have enough dynamo generation with Lucy, Ulrich and Ezra to have this electric searching field up at least on round 2, right? Every 2 rounds we will have this electric searching field up at level 3. So yeah, like pretty much at all times this electric searching field will already be up on level 3 at all times if we play these 3 characters together. But now in version 3.0 the character Sharon is released, and he changes the Dynamo game by quite a significant amount, because not only we will be much more consistent and much faster. And yeah, what that leads to in just a second, but let's check out why this is. First of all, he can not only can he also of course transfer Dynamo into the pulsing field. No, he can make it so that the Dynamo that your team puts into this pulsing field can overflow. And for every overflowed Dynamo that you would put into this electric searching field, and for every excess team-wide Moxie, you grant Sharon a stack of Shockwave. Okay, now there's one more thing I wanted to tell you here, and that is that you will now be able to consume extra Dynamo to instantly upgrade this electric searching field to level 3. Remember that Ezra can only put up to 20 Dynamos per turn into this field, and the same counts also for Ulrich and Lucy. Each of these characters, they can only put, quote-unquote only, put 20 Dynamos per turn into this electric searching field, but we need 120, so double the amount, to actually level this searching field up to level 3 immediately. And now with Sharon in our team, we will have this searching field, electric searching field, not only up on level 2, but right out of the gate on turn 1. We will never use it. It makes us much more consistent. And remember, every overflowing Dynamo and excess Moxie that our team generates, it grants a stack of Shockwave to Sharon. And you will of course want to unlock Sharon's ultimate as fast as possible, just like it is with Flutter Page, right? That is always your highest priority. And then Sharon will start channeling, and this channel will put you into a status called Shadow of the Past. Shadow of the Past makes it so that at the end of each round you consume Shockwave stacks to trigger Shroud of Regret. That is, Shroud of Regret is a mass attack that deals damage to all enemies, and this attack is affected by Ultimate Might. You see? Let's break this down, what that means for the Dynamo archetype team to have a character like Sharon in it. First of all, you instantly upgrade the pulsing field to level 3, just like that. You don't even need Ezra anymore to produce enough Dynamos. Ulrich and Lucy will be enough. That makes it so that Ezra would become replaceable, but you have to keep in mind that Ezra will still be the best in slot for this team. Why? Because she is the only sustain for the Dynamo team that actually generates Dynamos. We will have an overflow of Dynamos, and those don't go to waste, because those now grant Sharon stacks of Shockwave that Sharon so desperately wants. Because, yeah, by the way, once you have accumulated a certain amount of Shockwave stacks, you gain something called consternation, and that increases your penetration rate, so his damage will grow. But the main kicker is that you want shockwaves. You want more dynamo than you actually need for this pulsing field on 3, because you grant stacks of shockwaves to Sharon with that, and that leads to him being able, and more consistently, and being able to consume more stacks of shockwaves to increase his damage output and make his damage output more consistent by casting Shroud of Regret, a mass attack, to all enemies. So now, at the end of every single round, you will have Ulrich cast a mass attack and Sharon cast a mass attack. Ulrich deals reality damage with this mass attack, and Sharon deals mental damage with this mass attack. So you cover multiple instances of damages at once, and you do this at the end of every single turn twice, right? That is absolutely ridiculous. And this is why you have to play these characters together, and this is why when we are in version 3.0, Sharon becomes instantly a must pull for everyone, right? Reason I mentioned that the Dynamo team will be played by every single soul on the planet and their moms, right? So there we go. Alright, let me say all of this again in very quick succession. In 2.8 there will be a team released called Dynamo. It will be Lucy, she will get her rerun, you get Ulrich for free, and you should already be ready to have Ezra's Euphoria unlocked. Then we move into version, for the time being in version 2.8, you should play this team with Mercuria if you have her. In case you don't have Mercuria, you can play any character that you possibly want in this team for the time being until we move into version 3.0. There will be the last piece of this team released with Sharon. That is a must pull. Why is Sharon a must pull? Because he makes this team much more faster, much more consistent, and he would enable you to even replace Ezra on this team, because Ezra is no longer needed with her Dynamo production, as Sharon alone will take care of having this electric searching field on level 3 at all times anyways. But Ezra will stay the best in slot because she produces now an overflow of dynamos, which helps Sharon out greatly, and he would love to have that. If you choose to replace Ezra, you can replace her with any sustain character that you possibly want to. A very good example to replace Ezra is, for example, Kiparina, because why is Ezra there? Yeah, for the dynamos, but we don't necessarily need the dynamos anymore, and everything else that Ezra does is provide shields. Now, if you would replace her with Kiparina, you would get access to just way better shields, right? And these shields, don't forget about that, also increase the critical hit rate of your team, which is very beneficial for this Dynamo archetype team. That's why we played Mercuria, right, for the time being before Sharon released. So Kiparina does both, provide shields and increase crit. That is very great. Now, if you don't have Kiparina, or you don't even want to replace Ezra, which would, of course, she's the best in slots, so I would recommend to not replace her, right? But if you want to, then yeah, of course, as I just said with Kiparina, or as it always is, you can put in diggers into every single team. I'm of course just kidding. You guessed it, it's Fatutu. The best in slot after Ezra is always, every single time, in every single team, Fatutu. And there you go, guys. That was a little bit of a talk and a little bit of a breakdown how this Dynamo team will look and function and what it's all about. I hope that video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse 1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link in the description. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.